Hello everyone, this is Courtney from Fiber Fox Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to work up this stitch. This is a crochet diagram that I found on Pinterest, and the multiples on this is an 18 plus 1, and down in the description I'm going to give you all the details on the different sizing. I'm going to go over it briefly here in the beginning of this tutorial just in case you're crocheting along with me to make this top, so this poncho. So this poncho is going to be constructed from 3 panels, 2 of which are made exactly the same as far as the chains. All of your panels are going to be made with the same starting chains, but we're going to do repeats, and this is what I'm calling a repeat. So if you look right here, this is a repeat to me. So these repeats, I'm going to be doing a total of 7 if you're doing the larger sizes, and you're going to do 6 if you're doing the smaller sizes. And I'm going to make sure all that information is down below. So what we're going to do today is we're going to work this up, and you're going to be working with the starting chain depending on the size that you're doing. And keep in mind, you're doing 3 separate panels, 2 that are exactly the same, and then your last panel will just be shorter. You're going to do less repeats. So in my case, for the one that I made for myself, I did 4 repeats for that last panel. So I ended up with 4 of these little somewhat pineapple looking clustery little fan things. So I don't have good terminology for how to describe these, but I'm going to show you how to make it, believe me. So if you are going to be making this piece, you're going to want to use, if you're doing exactly what I did, you're going to want to use a similar yarn to like I have done here. This is Loops and Threads wool-like yarn. It's 678 yards per ball, and it is a super fine size 1. And this particular yarn, I'm not sponsored or anything like that. This is just what I used. This particular yarn, though, it is made from acrylic with just a hint of nylon in it, so that makes it very stretchy. I really, really love this yarn. I use it a lot. It's also pretty affordable. It's about $3 to $3.20 a ball. For your poncho and the size is small through the 2X, you're going to use 2 balls of this, and you won't use all of the second ball. You're just going to use part of it. Obviously the smaller sizes you're going to use a little bit less than I did, but I had this amount that I balled up left plus another amount that I had rolled into a ball. So I had a pretty good amount of yarn left over from that second ball. And I made the 1X size, or the one that fits for the extra large through 2X. So let's talk about the sizing. And also, just as a little, if you don't have this particular yarn or you don't have any super fine, you can substitute with a size 2 yarn. Would be a very easy substitute to follow the exact chains and multiples and everything that I'm doing. But if you're going to have to use a size 3 or 4 worsted weight, I'm going to give the best help I can down in the description on how to substitute that yarn. You are going to have to change your hook size, and you are going to have to drop some of the counts down. You're not going to be able to do as many repeats as what I've done, or you'll end up with a really huge piece, especially if you're using the size 4. So let's get started by doing our chains. We're going to do our starting chain, and again, multiples of 18 plus 1 if you're needing to do any alterations to this. And down in the description I'll have all the details, so don't panic. Maybe you can't keep up with what I'm saying. But for the size small through large, you're going to chain 54 plus 1. And that's what I've done so that I can show you. So I've got a chain of 54 plus 1, so 55 stitches total. Or chains on here. So if you're doing small through large, you can follow me exactly on this, and this will be perfect for you. If you are doing sizes extra large through the plus size 2X, so extra large, 1X and 2X, you are going to chain 72 plus 1 with a 4mm hook. If you're doing the size small through large with the 54 plus 1, I would say use a 3.5 to a 3.75mm hook. And obviously it's more like if you're doing the exact same yarn, you can do the 3.75mm size 1. If you are doing the size 2 yarn, you're going to drop down your hook size, so to the 3.5. So for the large, extra large, that's 72 chains plus 1 with a 4mm hook using the size 1 yarn. So if you are having to go up in your yarn size to like a size 2, then you're going to want to drop that hook size down. For the size 3X and 4X, you're going to chain 90 plus 1 with a 4mm hook. And for the size 5X, you're going to chain 108 plus 1 with a 4mm hook. And that's all based on you using similar yarn to this, similar size, super fine size 1 yarn. So if you're changing that at all, please refer down to the description. I'm going to give as much information as possible down there, but you may have to do a little bit of experimenting if you go too far off base of what I'm doing. So let's get started. Get your chains on your hook. Go ahead and pause this video here. So small through large, chain 54 plus 1. Size extra large through 2X, do a 72 plus 1 chain. 3X and 4X, do 90 plus 1. And for 5X, you're going to do 108 plus 1. So pause the video and meet me back up when you are ready to start. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. So I've got my chains on my hook, and I've got my starting or working loop right here. I'm going to skip this very first stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet right here into the very next stitch, and that's going to begin my row 1. Now for beginning and ending, you're going to be doing only a chain 1, and then the rest of the row is going to be the same repeats over and over, and I will show you those as we go along. So I've chained 1, and now I'm going to skip 1 stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet right here into the very next stitch. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to skip 3 stitches and go into the 4th and do a single crochet, and then I'm going to do a single crochet directly beside it in the very next stitch. Just like that. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to skip 3 stitches, and I'm going to do a single crochet into the 4th, and I'm going to do a single crochet directly beside that. Now I'm going to chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to skip 3 stitches, and I'm going to go here into the 4th, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Now I'm going to undo that and make it a little bit tighter. Got a little off base there. 1, 2, 3. Go here into the 4th. Sorry about that. Alright, so this is what we have so far. Got the 2 single crochets beside each other, chain 4, skipping 3. 2 single crochets beside each other, chain 4, skipping 3. Now we've done just 1 single crochet. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to skip 3 stitches on this row, and we're going to go into the 4th and do a single crochet. And that essentially ends your repeat. You're going to continue to do the same exact thing all the way down the row. So we're going to do the 2 single crochets, chain 4, 2 single crochets, chain 4, 1 single crochet, chain 4, 1 single crochet. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th we're going to do a single crochet. And we're going to do a single crochet in the stitch directly beside it. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to skip 3 stitches, and we're going to go into the 4th, and we're going to do 2 single crochets directly beside each other, not skipping anything in between them. So there's my second. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to skip 3 stitches and I'm going to go into the 4th and do a single crochet. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skipping 3 stitches and going into the 4th and doing a single crochet. That's another repeat. So this is what you have so far. We're not going to look at this beginning right here. Beginning and ending of our rows is slightly different, so we're just going to focus here. Got our chain 4, 2 single crochets directly beside each other, chain 4, 2 single crochets directly beside each other, chain 4, 1 single crochet, chain 4, 1 single crochet, chain 4. All along here we're just skipping 3 stitches on that starting chain. Okay, so here we are. That was a repeat. Now we're over here. We've got 2 single crochets, chain 4, skipping those 3, 2 single crochets, chain 4, skipping 3, 1 single crochet, chain 4, skipping 3, 1 single crochet. Now we're going to chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to continue on down our row doing the same exact thing, skipping 3 and doing exactly what we've been doing. So we've got 2 single crochets right here, side by side basically, with 3 chains skipped in between. So we know that our very next move is going to have 2 single crochets directly beside each other. Then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to skip 3 stitches and we're going to do 2 single crochets directly beside each other. Then we're going to chain 4, skip 3 stitches and do a single crochet, chain 4, skip 3 stitches and do a single crochet. And we're going to keep doing that on down our row. So when you have gotten to the point in your row where you have done your last chain 4 and you've got 3 stitches left, that's where we're going to meet back up so that I can show you how to end your row. So if you have done one of the larger sizes that's requiring more chains to get started with, then you're going to go ahead and pause the video here and you're going to meet me back up when you get to the end of your row and have 2 to 3 stitches left. And I say that because some of you might go ahead and anchor in with a single crochet, and that's completely fine, but try to make it so that you have 3 left and you come back to meet with me. So go ahead and pause right here and I will show you how to end your row. I've got 3, 4. So now I'm going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm getting right here at the end of my row. I'm going to do a single crochet. I've got 2 more stitches left. I'm going to chain 1, only 1, and I'm going to go into the very last stitch and do a single crochet. So just like we began where we had a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, we're ending the row exactly the same. So now we're going to go ahead and get started on row 2. So we're going to chain up 3. We're going to turn our work and we're going to come down and we are keeping our finger in there to keep that stitch separated so we can see that chain 1 space. And we're going to do a single crochet right into that. So we've got a chain 3 and a single crochet to begin our second row. Now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And we're going to go over here into this loop that we created with this chain 4, and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2 again, 1 and 2, and in that same loop we're going to do another single crochet. All right, let me get my yarn out a little bit better here. I have it kind of stuck underneath my notepad and everything. I apologize. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick little look at our work. We've got this chain 3 right here. We've got a single crochet into this chain 1 space. We've got a chain 2, with a single crochet into this next 4 chains right here, chain 2, single crochet into the same chain 4 space. So now we're going to go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to move over here into this next chain 4 space, and we are going to do 3 double crochets right into that space. To do the double crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, insert it in here into this nice large loop. We're going to pull up a loop, we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to pull through 2. And we're going to do that 3 times total. So wrap your yarn, insert and pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So we've got 3 double crochets right here in that chain 4 space. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to start making these little chain 2 loops again. So we're going to go over here into this next chain 4 space, and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and in that same loop we're going to go ahead and do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2 again, because we've got to have 5 of these little loops. So we've got 1 so far. So we're going to chain 2 again, and then we're going to go over here into this next chain 4 space and do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2 again, and into that same space we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2 again, 1 and 2, and we're going to skip over here to this next chain 4 space, and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2 again, and in that same space we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to stop for a second, and we're going to take a look at our work, because I want you to see what we're doing here. Our little chain 2 loops, there's a total of 5 of them now, and you can go back and count, and you definitely want to, because you want to make sure that you have the correct number of those. Is really important to keep your pattern 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and if you look at your row 1 that you did, you have your 2 single crochets right here. So in between our 2 single crochets that are right next to each other, that's where our 3 double crochets are going. So here is the end of that. Right here we have the 2 single crochets, and in between these single crochets that are just individual, that's where our loops are ending up going, our chain 2 loops. Now we're over here again, we have 2 single crochets directly beside each other. So that's kind of our signal that we're back here at this section, and we're repeating this part right here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 chain 2 loops. We're going to chain 3 and go into that next loop, and we're going to do 3 double crochets again. So into this next loop, we're going to do our double crochets. We're going to do 3 of those directly into that loop. 2 and 3. Now we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go here into this next loop, and that's where we're going to start doing our single crochet chain 2s again. So we're going to chain single crochet chain 2, and we're going to do our single crochet right back into that same space. Now we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to move over to our next loop, and we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2 again. In that same exact loop, we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to move over here into this next loop, and we're going to do a single crochet. And chain 2 again. So we're working right back into that same loop, the chain 4 space. And we're going to do a single crochet. Now we see that we've got the 2 single crochets again. We've met up to those again. So let's go back and check and make sure that we have 5 chain 2 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're doing the right thing. So now we're back at our beginning of our repeat again. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And in this next loop, we're going to do 3 double crochets directly into that chain 4 space. which I'm also calling a loop. I hope I'm not confusing anyone. 2 and 3. Just like that. Chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're going to continue on down your row doing the exact same thing until you are going to be able to meet up with me and you have this one chain 4 space left, and then we're at our end where we have our chain 1 space. That's where we're going to meet back up. So to recap, you are going to, where we're at here, we've got our chain 3, and we're going to be starting this section again where we're going into the chain 4 space and doing a single crochet, chaining 2, doing a single crochet right back into the same space, chaining 2, doing a single crochet in the very next chain 4 loop, chaining 2 and doing a single crochet in the same exact space, chaining 2, doing a single crochet in the very next chain 4 space and loop as I've been calling it, chaining 2, doing a single crochet into the next or into the same space. And if you look in between your markers for where your single crochet chain 2 loops are going, that is in between the 2 single crochets. And your chain 3s with your 3 double crochets are in the 1 loop, chain 4 space that we created in between the 2 single crochets that are directly beside each other. So you're going to continue on down your row doing the same thing in chaining 3, doing your 3 double crochets, chain 3, and then working your chain 2 loops just as we have done, making sure you have 5 of those. And we're going to meet back up at the end so that you can see how we're going to end this row. Pause the video, by the way. If you're at that spot, go ahead and pause your video because we're going to need to meet back up at the end of your row. And if you're doing the small through large, you are right here with me. You're at the end of your row. So we've got our chain 3. And we're going to do a single crochet in that next loop. It's the chain 4 space. We're going to do chain 2. And then we're going to go right back into that same exact chain 4 space loop and do another single crochet. Now we are going to chain 2. And we're going to go ahead and move over into this chain 1 space and do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do a half double to end out this row. And we're going to go right here into the very last stitch. It was where we're turning. There's a stitch right there, and that's where we're going into. So I've got to chain 1. And I'm going to go in and wrap my yarn, insert my hook into that space right there. I'm going to pull up a loop, and then I'm going to pull through all 3 loops on my hook. Alright, so we've just ended our row. This is what our work is looking like. We've got these double crochet chain 3s, and in between them we have our chain 2 loops with our single crochets. So those are worked over a total, it's 3 loops right here that we're working in to do those. 1 loop that we have all of our double crochets in. So to start out and go to our row 3, we're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn your work, and now we're going to do a single crochet right back here into this same space. We're basically right here. You can do it directly into this chain 1 space, or we can go ahead and just do it right here to the top of that stitch, and that's what I prefer for myself. So I've got a single crochet right there, and now I'm going to chain 2 just like so, and I'm going to move over here into this chain 2 loop, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Just like that. Now I'm going to chain 2 again, and I'm going to move over into this next chain 2 loop right here, chain 2 space, and I'm going to do a single crochet. So I chain 2, move over to the next chain 2 space, do a single crochet to anchor that down. So now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to skip over here and I'm going to start working into my double crochets. So I'm going to do a double crochet, 2 of them in this very first stitch. So we're going to go double crochet right here into the top of the double crochet from the previous row. And now I'm going to do another double crochet right there into the same double crochet right into the same space, so it looks just like that. Now I'm going to do a double crochet in the center double crochet from the previous row. So that's second one. And now I'm going to do 2 double crochets into this last double crochet from the previous row. Do 2 double crochets right into that. Just like that. And now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to come over here, and these are my chain 2 loops that we created, and we're going to be working into each of those. We're going to do a single crochet in the very first one. Make sure that you've skipped over your chains right here. You want to work into these loops only. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do a single crochet in the very next chain 2 space, just like that. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to come over here into the very next one and do a single crochet right there in those chain 2 loops, chain 2, and we're going to come over here into this next chain 2 loop, and we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to do a single crochet. This is our last one right here. We've made it over to this section. So in this last chain 2 loop, we're going to do a single crochet. So we're going to go back and count and make sure that we've got our counts right here. And if you look, we started out with 5 on the previous row, and now we're down to 4. We're going to have 4 chain 2 loops with single crochets, and now we're going to chain 3. And that's the end of our repeat. We are now back at our double crochets, so we're going to work 2 double crochets into the first double crochet from the previous row, just like that. And then we're going to do a double crochet into the next double crochet from the previous row. So we're working a double crochet into each, but we've got 2 of them technically in the starting and ending. So now we're at the 3rd double crochet in the previous row. We're going to do 2 double crochets right into the top of that. So we're taking those 3 double crochets and turning them into 5. And we're going to chain 3, and then we're right back at our repeat again. We're here at the chain 2 spaces. We've got 5 of those that we're going to work into. We're going to do a single crochet. We've got a chain 3 on our hook. We're going to do a single crochet into the first chain 2 loop. We're going to chain 2 and do a single crochet into the next chain 2 loop. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do a single crochet into the next chain 2 loop. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do a single crochet into the next chain 2 loop. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do a single crochet into the next chain 2 loop. We should have a total of 4 of those. We're going to go back and count. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we're going to chain 3. And we're back at our double crochet. So we're going to do 2 double crochets into the first double crochet. Directly into the same stitch. You're working 2 of them right into the top. Now we're going to do a double crochet right there in the center. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets on the 3rd stitch from the previous row. Now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to start back over doing our loops again. And if you are making one of the larger sizes, you're going to go ahead and pause here, and you're going to meet back up with me when you have the end of your row with only 3 of these loops left to work into, and I'll show you how we do that. So pause right here and come back when you're at the end of your row with just this one section of 3 different loops left. And that's where we're going to pick up back together. If you're making the small through large, you're going to continue on with me here. So I've got my chain 3 on my hook. I'm going to come over here in this chain 2 space and I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a single crochet into this very next loop. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to go into this very last, this was our chain 3 that we started out this previous row with. We're going to go in there. So we've only got 2 chain 2 loops here at the end. There's only 2 of those because it's just a partial on that pattern. It's just part of it that we're showing here at the ends. The full is here in the centers. So this is what our row is looking like. We've got our chain 2 loops, 4 of those, chain 3, 5 double crochets, chain 3, 4 chain 2 loops, and then we're right back over at our chaining 3 and 5 double crochets. So here at the end where we're at, we've got 2 chain 2 loops right here at the end, and we're going to go ahead and chain 3, and we're going to be moving on to our next row. This is going to be our row 3. So we've got 3 chains on our hook, and we're going to go into this chain 2 space and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to go here into our very next chain 2 space and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're over here at our double crochets that we created, and we're going to do a double crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets here in the center, and then finish it out by doing a double crochet in the remaining 2 stitches. So we're going to do that together. So you're going to wrap your yarn and go into the top of that double crochet from the previous row and do a double crochet. And we're going to do a double crochet in the stitch directly beside it in the previous row, double crochet. Now we're at the center, we're at the 3rd double crochet in the section. We're going to go into the top of it and we're going to do 2 double crochets. There's my first one. Here's my second one. Now I'm going to do a double crochet in the next 2 stitches, 1 in each. And that's going to finish out that section. And then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's counting really as the beginning of our repeat. Now we're going to do a single crochet chain 2 in each of those single crochet chain 2s from the previous row. So these loops down here, we're going to work a stitch into each. Each of those is going to be a chain 2, single crochet. So I've got my first single crochet right there in the first chain 2 loop. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to move over here to the next chain 2 loop, and I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to move over here into the next chain 2 loop, and I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to go into the next chain 2 loop, and I'm going to do a single crochet. So we've got 3 now. So each row we're reducing right here in this section. We're going down by 1. And this is what your work looks like so far. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, because we're back at our double crochets. So we're going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets into the first 2 stitches, 1 in each. There's 1. There's the second one in the very next stitch. Now on this 3rd double crochet from the previous row, we're going to work 2 double crochets into the top of that one. 1 and 2. And we're going to do a double crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 in each, to finish out that section. So while we're decreasing over here, we are increasing here, and that's what helps make our pattern work out. So now we've taken the 5 double crochets, and they are now 6 double crochets. So now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to continue on. We're back at our repeat again. We're going to do a single crochet, chain 2 into each of these stitches from the previous row. They're the chain 2 loops. 1, 2, and we're going to work a single crochet in the very next one, chain 2, single crochet in the very next one, chain 2, 2, and a single crochet in the very next one. We're going to end up with 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to do our chain 4, and we're back at the beginning of that repeat again where we're doing the double crochets. So I've got a chain 4, I'm doing a double crochet into the top of the double crochet from the previous row. We're going to do another double crochet into the top of the double crochet from the previous row. Now we're here at the 3rd double crochet from the previous row in this section, and we're going to do 2 double crochets. There's 1 right directly in the same space. We're doing our second one. Now we're going to do a double crochet in each of the double crochets. There's 2 of them left to finish out that row, or that part of that section, I should say. Now we're going to chain 4, and if you've done one of the larger sizes, you're going to be working on down your row, doing a chain 4, single crochet into this chain 2 loop from the previous row, chain 2, single crochet into this chain 2 space from the previous row, chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, so that you end up with 3 of these, chaining 4, and doing your double crochets with 2 in the center in the same stitch to make that 6, chain 4, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet on down, and keep repeating that until you are at the very end of your row and you have just these chain 2 loops left to work in. You're going to have 2 of them down here. When you get to that point where you have just these 2 left to work in, that is where you're going to meet back up with me. So you want to go ahead and pause here and continue doing just as we have been all the way down the row until you get to that point. If you are working on the small through large, you're just going to continue on with me. I've got a chain 4 on my hook. I'm going to do a single crochet into that chain 2 from the previous row, right there in that chain 2 space, and I am going to chain 2, and I'm going to do a single crochet right here into this last chain 2 loop. So I've got 1 full chain 2 space right there, and now I'm going to do a chain 1, and I'm going to do a half double crochet into this chain from the previous loop. I'm right here at the end of my row, and we had done a half double crochet to start out or to end that row, and we're going to go ahead and pick up the loop right there at the end. We're going to have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops, and that's how we end that row, and we're keeping a nice clean edge. So now what we're going to do to go ahead and move up is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. Let's go ahead and do a single crochet right here into that same stitch. If you're having trouble finding it, you can just do your single crochet right here in that chain space. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to do a single crochet right here into this next chain 2 space. So we're at the beginning here of this row, and we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to move over here to our double crochet section, and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1 into each and every stitch from the previous row. So I've got my first double crochet into the very first stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do a double crochet into the very next stitch, not skipping anything, and I'm not doing any extra stitches into the same stitch. I'm just doing a double crochet, chain 1 into the top of each and every stitch from the previous row. And that is how you're going to do this entire section. So I've got 3 of mine done. I'm going to chain 1, double crochet into the next, chain 1, double crochet into the next, chain 1, double crochet into the next, just like so. Now we're going to have to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're over here at our chain 2 loops. So we are going to work a stitch, the single crochet, chain 2 into each of these, just like we've been doing on the previous rows. So I'm at my very first one. I'm going to do a single crochet. Got my chain 4 right there that I'm coming off of for my double crochet section. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to skip over to this next chain 2 space, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to skip over here to this next chain 2 space and do a single crochet. Now I'm done with that area. I've got 2 of these, and that's all I need, 2 chain 2 loops. Now I'm going to chain 4 again, and we're back at the beginning of our repeat, and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1 in each of the double crochets from the previous row. And that is how you do this row all the way down. It's the same thing. You're going to be doing your little chain 2 spaces, chain 4, and a double crochet, chain 1 in each of the double crochets from the previous row. And that is how you do this. So you're going to work all the way down. I'm going to do a few more little repeats of this together with you, and I will tell you when to pause. It's a very, very simple row. Chain 1 and double crochet in the last double crochet. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to go over here. I'm now at my chain 2 spaces, so I'm going to work a stitch into each, doing a single crochet into the very first one, just like that. Chain 2, do a single crochet in the very next chain 2 space, chain 2, single crochet into the very next chain 2 space. I've got 2 chain 2 loops now. I'm going to chain 4, back at my beginning again. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 1 into the top of each double crochet from the previous row. And you're going to continue on down the same manner down your row, and we're going to meet back up at the end. I'm going to go ahead and work out this section, and then you guys will be able to pause the video and come back to finish out your row with me. Chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, tangled up yarn, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the last one. And now you're going to go ahead and pause the video and continue on down until you are at this portion of your row where you have just 2 chain 2 loops left to work into. If you're doing the size that with me that we're working on right now, we're going to go ahead and chain 4, and we're going to do a single crochet into that first chain 2 loop, and we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do a single crochet into this chain 3 that we started out that row with. We're going to do a single crochet right into that space, and that's how you end your row. You're going to have just 1 of the chain 2 loops here at the end. And this is what your work is looking like. These are our chain 2s. These are our double crochets. So we're starting to really build that fan work that we're wanting for this. It's going to look really, really nice. So now we're going to go ahead and do a chain 3. And we are going to turn our work. And we are going to do a single crochet right here into this chain 2 space from the previous row. Oops. Try not to drop all that. So we got this looking like this, and now we're going to chain, let me look at my diagram, want to make sure, yep, chain 5. We're going to chain 5, 1, 3, 4, and 5. So this is the beginning of our repeat. So we got a chain 5, and now we're going to work a double crochet, chain 2 into each of these double crochets from the previous row. So we got a chain 5 on our hook. We're going to do a double crochet into the double crochet from the previous row, right into the top of that stitch. We're going to chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet into the next double crochet from the previous row. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do a double crochet into the very next one. Just like that. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do a double crochet into the next double crochet from the previous row. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do a double crochet into the next double crochet. Make sure you pick up both of those loops. You know what I'm talking about? We're grabbing that V. That's what we want to do. We don't want to stretch it out too much by just grabbing one. Do a double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2, double crochet into that last double crochet in that section, and then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to work into our chain 2 loops from the previous row. We've got 2 of them, so we're going to go over here to the first one and do a single crochet. We're going to do a chain 2, and we're going to come over here into the second one, and we're going to do a single crochet. So now we've got 1 chain 2 loop now. Now we're back at our beginning of our repeat. We're going to chain 5, 4, and 5. And we're over here at our double crochet section, and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 2 into each double crochet from the previous row. So that's my chain 2. And do my next double crochet, and we're going to chain 2 and do a double crochet in the next double crochet, and we're going to chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet in the next. We're going to chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet in the next. Chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet in this very last double crochet in this section. Now we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're here at our chain 2 spaces. We're going to do a single crochet in the first chain 2 space. Chain 2. Moving over to the next chain 2 space, we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're back at the beginning of our repeat. We're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to do this last one together, and then we're going to pause the video and you'll finish out your row. So I'm going to do chain 5, and then I'm going to do a double crochet into the first double crochet, chain 2. Now I'm going to do a double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 2. And then you're going to want to pause the video right here and continue on, because we're back at the beginning of our repeat, and we're going to be doing a chain 5 and then working into our chain 2 spaces. But if you're doing one of the larger sizes, you have more to go. So please pause here and come back to me when you have just this one chain 2 loop left to work in. And if you are doing this size, you're going to continue on with me, and we're going to do our chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we are going to do a single crochet right here into this chain 2 space. And then we are going to chain 1. And we are going to do a half double crochet right here into this stitch right at the very end. We don't want to grab our chain 1s or anything like that. We want to go right here into the end, into that stitch, and we want to do a half double crochet, which is the wrapping the yarn, inserting your loop, pulling up a loop, and pulling through all 3 loops on your hook. So you want to keep a nice straight edge. And now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to do a single crochet right here into this loop, or I'm sorry, into that stitch right there. Very first stitch, do a single crochet. And now we're going to chain 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to work into these chain 2 spaces. We're going to be doing a double crochet, 3 of them, into each of these chain 2 spaces. So we've got our chain 6, beginning of this repeat. Wrap your yarn and do 3 double crochets into the chain 2. There's my first one. Here's my second one. And here is my third. We're not chaining anything at all. We're just simply going to move over into the next chain 2 space and do 3 double crochets. And you're going to do 3 double crochets with no chains in between in each and every one of these chain 2 spaces that we created on the previous row. So that's my third. Now I'm going to go over here. Okay, had to pause real quick. Now we're still working on our double crochets into the chain 2 spaces. We're doing 3 in each. And we are actually beginning to get to where we are at the end of our repeat. And you're going to get to see what this pattern looks like all worked up. And I'm going to do another one with you so we can cover the beginning and ends again. And then you will be able to finish out your panels. And in the next video, I will come back with how we construct it once you have your panels all made up. So I'm doing my 3 double crochets into my chain 2 space. Take a look. So we end up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets. So you got 5 sets of the 3 double crochets into this chain 2 spaces. And now we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you're going to be skipping over these chains and everything, coming to your 2 chain loop space, 2 chain loop space, and you're going to do a single crochet. There's only one of them there now. Now we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're back at the beginning of our repeat. That chain 6 starts our repeat. So we're over here at our double crochet section. We're going to go ahead and do 3 double crochets into each of the chain 2 spaces that we made on the previous row. There's 2, 3. Skipping into the next chain 2 space, no chains in between, and we're doing 3 more double crochets into that space. Now we're going to skip into the next space, no chains or anything in between, and do 3 double crochets into that chain space. It's a chain 2 space on from your previous row. Got 3 of those. We're going to skip over to the next one, no chains in between, and we're going to work 3 double crochets into that one. And we're going to do this all the way down till you've done your last chain 2 space. And we're going to do our 3 double crochets in that. Just like so. Take a look back at it. We've got 5 sets of these double crochets. Now we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to skip over all of this and come here to this chain 2 space and do a single crochet. Now we're back at the beginning of our repeat. We're going to chain 6, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, here's our chain 6, and now we're starting over again with those double crochets. We're going into that chain 2 space that we created and doing 3 double crochets. We're going to do that in each and every one. We're not chaining anything. We're just working 3 double crochets into each of those chain 2 spaces. I'm going to skip over to this next one and do 3 double crochets. We've got one more row left, and then you get to see this full repeat on this pattern. And I will get you off and started on another repeat of it, and then you can just rewind the video and you will be good to go on through your panels. So here I am doing my double crochets in my chain 2 space from the previous row. Got 1 left. And when you get comfortable with this, you'll be able to do a lot with it. And I'm going to do another tutorial with this same stitch, doing a top instead of a poncho. I just had some technical difficulties that I'm having to work out with that thing so that it is going to be available for all sizes. Make sure that you check your your double crochets, your 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space. Make sure you have 5 of them. You're going to want to go ahead and pause the video here if you're got to continue on down. If you're going to be continuing on down your row, finishing up, if you're doing any of the larger sizes. And if you're not, you're going to just continue to work here with me, but otherwise pause the video and come back when you have just this one chain 2 space to work in. It's really a chain 3 starting, but we'll call it a chain 2 space. So pause the video here and come back when you've reached that point. And for those of you who are working along with me, doing the size small through large, we're going to chain 6 after we've done our last set of 3 double crochets in the chain 2 spaces. Chain 6, and then we're going to move over here into this space, which is actually a chain 3 that we started the row with. It's like a chain 2 space to us. We're just going to do a single crochet into that, and that ends your row right there. Now this is the trickiest stitch. This is one stitch. You're going to have one at the beginning, one at the end. This is the trickiest thing in the entire stitch in the entire pattern to me. And we're going to start on this side. We're not doing the tricky stitch till the end, but we're chaining up 11. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So you're going to chain 11, and you're going to turn your work. And now we are going to start clustering these stitches, these 3 double crochet sets together. And we're going to do that by wrapping the yarn around our hook, and we're going to come here into this very first one, and we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop, and we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to go into the very next double crochet, insert our hook, pulling up a loop like so. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. So now we've got 3 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to move over here into this next double crochet, and we're going to insert our hook, grab your yarn and pull it through, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and we're going to hold it right there for only a moment, because we're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 loops that we have on our hook, like so. See what we're doing there? Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to do the same exact thing that we just did here. We're going to do that in these 3 double crochets from the previous row. So you're going to wrap your yarn. You're going to make sure you're going into the very next stitch right here. We're going to pull up our loop, pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. 2 loops on our hook. Wrap our yarn, insert into the very next stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. We've got 3 loops on our hook. Wrap your yarn, go into the next stitch. This is our 3rd one in this section. We're going to pull up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. We've got 4 loops on our hook, so we know we need to grab our yarn, turn our hook down, facing our project, just like so, and pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to go over here to this section of double crochets, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to do this exact same technique all the way down this section until you've worked into each of these and you clustered them together. So we're going to go ahead and wrap our yarn, pull up a loop, hold it, go into the very next stitch, grab up yarn, pull through 2 loops, hold it, 3 on our hook, grab your yarn, go into the very next stitch just like that, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. We've got 4, so we know we can go ahead and pull through all 4 loops on our hook. Now we're going to chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to go over here to this section, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Go ahead and cluster those together. Just like so. I'm in the next stitch already. Making sure you're going into each of those stitches. Want to make sure we work into each of them. Now we're going to pull through all 4 loops on our hook, chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. And we're in our last one in this case, and we're going to wrap our yarn, insert our hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, doing the same cluster, and we're going to work in each of those stitches, each and every one. Pull through all 4 loops, and now we're going to be able to begin our true repeat, and we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we're going to skip over all of this. We're skipping this chain 6, single crochet, chain 6, and we're now moving over here to cluster these together. So this is why this is the beginning of your repeat. Each one of these sections that you're doing like this is going to be separated by a chain 7. So as you're working down, you're going to get over here to this again. We've got those first set of 3 double crochets. We're going to cluster them together. We're going to put a stitch into each one, doing the same thing that we were just doing. Get down here into view of camera better. We've got 4 loops in our hook. We're going to pull through all 4. Now we're going to chain 5. That's what those are separated by, is a chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm in my next section of 3 double crochets. I'm going to wrap my yarn, insert into the first one, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. 2 loops on your hook, insert into the very next stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. 3 loops on your hook, insert into the very next stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. We've got 4 on our hook, pull through all 4 loops on our hook, and we're going to go ahead and do a chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're here in our next section of 3 double crochets, and we're going to go ahead and cluster those together. We're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. We've got 2 loops on our hook. Wrap again, insert into the next stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it. 3 loops on our hook, wrap again, insert into the very next stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it. We have 4 loops on our hook, so we know we can go ahead and grab our yarn, pull through all 4 loops on our hook. Now we're going to chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. We've got 2 more of these to work in this section, so we're going to grab our yarn, insert our hook into this next section of 3 double crochets, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it. Insert your hook again, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, hold it. Wrap again, insert your hook, pulling up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it. We have 4 loops on our hook, so we know we can go ahead and grab our yarn, pull through all 4 loops. Now we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're over here. We've got our last set of 3 double crochets to work into. So we're going to grab our yarn, insert our hook, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, hold it. Wrap your yarn, going into the very next stitch, insert your hook and pull up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it. Got 3 loops on our hook. Wrap your yarn again, insert into the 3rd stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, hold it. You've got 4 loops on your hook, so you're going to grab your yarn, turn your hook down facing your project and pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Now we're here at this section, the beginning of our repeat, so we're going to be chaining 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you're going to be skipping over all this chains down here, 6 chains, single crochet, 6 chains, and working into, you guessed it, the double crochets again. So this is a very, very easy row. We're going to go ahead and work this last one, and then you'll be pausing the video, and we're going to show you how to end your row, and that is the trickiest stitch. This is the trickiest stitch to me in the entire project. Is this one that we're going to end with, but I'm going to show you and make it as easy as possible. I'm going to chain 5 in between. Got my 5. Wrap, insert, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it. In this next section of double crochets, and we're going to cluster those together just like we have been, just like that. Chain 5 in between, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're into this next section, and we're going to cluster these together as well. Insert my hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it, 2 loops on the hook. Go into the very next stitch, pulling up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it, 3 loops on the hook. Wrap my yarn again, insert my hook into the last stitch in this section. It's a double crochet, pull up 2 and hold it. Got 4 loops on the hook, pull through all 4 loops. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to go into this first chain, or this first double crochet from the previous row. We're now in this section of them, and we're going to pull up a loop and hold it. Go into the very next section, grab our loop, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn again, go into this 3rd one, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and hold it. We've got 4 loops on our hook. Pull through all 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to do one last one together, and then you're going to pause the video and you're going to do your chain 7 and skip over and start doing these clusters all over again and work down the rest of your row until you have finished this last round or section of the double crochets that we're clustering together. When you get to this point and you have no more of these to do, that's where we're going to meet back up. So you're going to go ahead and pause the video here, continue to work down your row. These cluster sections are going to be separated by a chain 7, just like we've shown here. You can rewind the video if you need any more help on that, but if you are doing the same size that I'm working up, we're going to go ahead and do that tricky stitch that I mentioned. And I want you to kind of lay your work and have a look at what you're doing. I know a lot of you are probably sitting on the couch, but put a pillow in your lap, and you're going to make 100% sure that you see this layout. we're right here, we have this nice straight edge, so when we lay it out properly, this is where you're going to be working into. So we're going to do a chain 3, and then I don't know exactly what to call this stitch, but I'll show you how to do it. We're going to wrap our yarn 3 times around our hook. So let's start by doing our chain 3, or I'm sorry, 6 times around our hook. So we're going to chain 3 and get in view of the camera. So I'm right here off of my last cluster. I've chained 3. And I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook, and I'm going to use this finger back here to hold it in place so I don't lose my loops. So this is my working loop. It does not count right now. We're going to wrap 6 times. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Give me one moment. I use my finger to hold those on there. I'm going to spread these out so you can see, and I can double check my count because it's important that we do this correctly. Okay, so not counting this working loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we've wrapped our yarn around our hook 6 times. And if you laid out your project, you understand that we're coming over here into this single crochet that started this row, and we're going to go into that single crochet to work this stitch, and we're going to pull up a loop. So we have this, and we're going to pull through 2 at a time. So we're going to grab our yarn, pull through 2. 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 And I'm just trying to keep everything tight. If things start slipping around, just use your finger to hold it in place. Grab our yarn, pull through 2. Grab our yarn, pull through 2. Grab our yarn, pull through 2. And that is how you end that row. And when you have it all nice and stretched out, we have a really nice straight edge, same as what we're going to have over here. And this is a full repeat of this pattern. So this to me is one repeat of the pattern. We have to do, when you're working this up, you're going to be doing, for the smaller sizes, so small through large, you're going to do 6 repeats of the pattern. Some of you may want to adjust that to 5. It is up to you. You can get to 5 and check it against your body. If you watch the next video where I show you the construction, you will see how we construct it. So that'll give you an idea of how you're going to be fitting it on you so that you can adjust if you would like. I'm going to go ahead and get you started moving up this next set, because we have some chains that we didn't cover in doing this section right here. We did not have to chain up the same way, so we're going to do one more repeat of this together. So this is a very long tutorial, I know, but I wanted to be very detailed on this and make sure that beginners can totally do this and people who cannot read those diagrams. So we're going to go ahead and get started by doing a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we are going to turn our work, and we're going to do a double crochet right here into this big giant chain space that we've created. So we're going to do a double crochet right there. So this chain 3 is counting as our first double crochet. And now this is where you're going to recognize, and this is the loops that we began with. We're going to do a chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we are going to start working those chain 2 loops with the single crochets. And we're going to work the first single crochet right here in this first loop. This is our chain 5 space. Now we're going to chain 2, and you're going to skip over to this next loop, chain 5 space, and we're going to do a single crochet there. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do a single crochet right back in that same chain 5 space. Now we're going to chain 2 again, 1, 2, and we're going to go into this next chain 5 space, and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. We're going to go into this chain 2, or into the same chain 5 space, and do a single crochet, just like that. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to go into this next chain 5 space, and we're going to do a single crochet. And let's just have a look. Let's go back, because we Just like in the beginning, we want to make sure that we have 5 of these loops. So this is my chain 3 space. This doesn't count over here. So this is my first loop. I'm right here in this cluster section. So I've got 1, here's number 2 hiding there, number 3, number 4 is hiding right there, and number 5. So now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into that chain 7 that we did on the previous row. So we're going to do 3 double crochets just right there into that chain space. You don't have to get into any particular stitch. Just like that. And now we're going to chain 3. And now we're back over here to the same cluster section. Same thing again. We're going to do our single crochet chain 2. So we're right here in the first chain 5 space. And we're doing our first single crochet. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip over to the next chain 5 space, and we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. In that same space, we're going to come back in and do a single crochet, just like that. We're going to chain 2. We're going to move over here to this next chain 5 space and do a single crochet, just like that. We're going to chain 2. We're going to take a look. What have we got going on here? 1, 2, 3, right? Yep, 1, 2, 3. This is our 4th one. It's going to go right here in the same chain 5 space. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to come over here into the last chain 5 space and do our last single crochet. Now we're going to chain 3. This is the beginning of our repeat. We're going to do our 3 double crochets into the chain 7 that we did on the previous row. 3 double crochets into that. And we're going to chain 3. And we're going to come over here in this first chain 5 loop and do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. Go into the next chain 5 space and do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. In that same chain 5 space, we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip over to the next chain 5 space and we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. In that same chain 5 space, we're going to do a single crochet, just like that. We're going to do a chain 2, and in this very last chain 5, we're going to do a single crochet. So we're back at the beginning of our repeat. We're going to chain 5. If you're doing we're going to chain 3. I apologize. If you are going to be doing if you're working on one of the larger sizes, you're going to pause the video right here and finish working out the setup row, and then you'll come back to me. If you're working on the same size that I am, we're going to go ahead and work on this together. So we have chain 3. This is the beginning of our repeat for those of you who are doing the larger sizes, and for us it's getting here at our end. So just like we began, we're going to need 2 double crochets at the end of our row. So the first one we're just going to go ahead and do into that large chain 11 space that we did, just like so. And then our second one, because we want to make sure that we're keeping nice straight sides, we're going to take a look and we're going to go back. We're going to look at our stitches here, and we're going to push this over, and we're going to go back here. We can see 1, 2, 3 stitches, and we're going to go back here 4th. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do our last double crochet right there, so it gives us nice straight side. We're going to do a double crochet right there, and then we can go ahead and push our other double crochet here to the edge, and we're looking pretty good with a nice straight side. And that's how you end that row. So now what we're going to have to do to go up to the next row is we're going to chain 3. And we're going to do 2 double crochets into the next double crochet. So we're coming up, this is counting as our first double crochet, and we don't want to work right here into this very first stitch. We want to go to the one right beside it and do 2 double crochets. So just like so, there's my first one. Into the same exact stitch, I'm going to do a second one. And now I'm going to go ahead and chain 3 again. This is the beginning of our repeat. We're going to go ahead and work a single crochet into this first chain 2 loop from the previous row, chain 2, do a single crochet into the next chain 2 loop from the previous row, chain 2, do a single crochet in the next chain 2 loop, chain 2, and do a single crochet in the next chain 2 loop. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and do a single crochet in the last chain 2 loop. We're going to stop and take a check on our work and make sure that we've got 4. Previous row we had 5 chain 2 loop spaces. This row we want to have 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 3 back here at the beginning of our repeat, and we are going to work a double crochet into the first double crochet from the previous row. We're going to work another double crochet into that same stitch. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet into the very next stitch, and this should all be starting to sound familiar to you. We're going to do a double crochet into the next stitch and do a second double crochet into that very same stitch. So now we're back where we have made our 5 double crochets out of our 3 double crochets from the previous row. Chain 3, and we're going to work a single crochet into this first chain 2 loop. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and do a single crochet in the very next chain 2 space. Chain 2, do a single crochet in the very next chain 2 space. Chain 2, and do a single crochet in the very next chain 2 space. Chain 2, and one more time we're going to do a single crochet in the next chain 2 space. Take a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, make sure you have 4 of those. Back at the beginning of our repeat, we're going to chain 3, and we're going to go ahead and do 2 double crochets into this very first double crochet. 1 and 2. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet into the very next double crochet, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets into the last double crochet in this section, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to do a single crochet into that first chain 2 space, chain 2, single crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, single crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, single crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, and if you're working on one of the larger sizes, you're going to go ahead and pause here and come back when you're at the end of your row with just these 2 double crochets to work in, and I'll show you how we end the row. If you're doing this size, you're going to continue on with me. We're going to chain 3, and we're going to do 2 double crochets right here into the first double crochet from the previous row, just like so. And then we're going to do a double crochet in the top of that chain 3 that we made to start out the previous row. And these chains that we're having to work up are why I'm having to do this whole nother repeat with you. I'm not going to go all the way through it, and then I'll mark in the video where to rewind to pick up from again, so you can finish it out. But we've got a chain 3 to start up our next row. We've got 3 double crochets right there that we just worked. We have a chain 3 to start the very next row. We are going to do a double crochet right here into the same exact stitch. So where our chain 3 is coming up out of, we're going to do a double crochet right there. And now we're going to do a double crochet in each of these next 2 double crochets, just 1 in each. One in each of those. And now we are going to do a chain 4, and we're going to come over here. This is the beginning of our repeat. Essentially, we're going to work a single crochet in the first chain 2 space, chain 2, do a single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, do a single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, do a single crochet in the next chain 2 space. And now we're going to check and make sure we've got 3 chain 2 spaces, and we do. Now we are at the beginning of our repeat again. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, I guess this is our repeat right here. So we're 4, chain 4, work a 2 chain space with a single crochet into each of those. Now we're over here, and we're going to do, we've got our 5 right here. We're going to make this into 6. We're going to do a double crochet into the first 2 double crochets from the previous row, just like we did earlier in the pattern. And we're here in the center. The third one, we're going to do 2 double crochets directly into that same stitch, just like so. And we're going to do a double crochet in each of the next 2 double crochets, 1 in each to finish that out. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're now back at the beginning of our repeat. We have chained 4, and we are going to go into this first chain 2 space and do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. We're going to go into this next chain 2 space and do a single crochet, chain 2. Next chain space, do a single crochet, chain 2. Next space, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 2. And then we're going to go ahead and do our chain 4. So we've got 3 of these, and that's exactly what we need. So we're going to chain 4, and we're coming over here to our double crochets again. We're going to do a double crochet in each of the first 2 double crochets, 1 in each, double crochet, double crochet. Now here in the third stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets right here in the center, 2 into the same exact stitch. Now we're going to do a double crochet in each of the next 2 double crochets to finish out this section. Now we are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're back at our chain 2 spaces. We're going to do a single crochet in the very first one. We are going to chain 2. We're going to do a single crochet in the very next one. We are going to chain 2. We're going to do a single crochet in the very next one. We are going to chain 2. And we're going to make sure that we've got 3, and we do. 1, 2, 3 of these chain 2 loops. Now you're going to pause here. If you're doing one of the larger sizes, you're going to do your chain 4 and continue on with your repeat. And if you're not doing one of the larger sizes, you're going to continue on right here with me. Otherwise, please pause and finish out the rest of your row. Meet me back up when we have just these 3 double crochets to work in right here at the end of the row. And if you're working along with me, we're going to go right here into this first stitch, and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to do a double crochet in the very next stitch. And then we are going to do 2 double crochets into the top of this chain 3 from the previous row. So we're going to do 1, and then going back into the same exact chain space stitch, we're going to do our second. So that is how you end that row. So now what we're going to do to start the next rows, we're going to chain 3, and we are going to turn our work, and in the very next stitch we're going to do a double crochet. Notice I'm not working into this stitch. We're skipping this one right here. We're going right here into this next one, and we're going to do a double crochet. Now we are going to chain 1, and we are going to do a double crochet into the very next stitch. We're going to chain 1, we're going to do a double crochet into the very next stitch, and then we are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the beginning of our repeat. We're going to go here into this chain 2 space and do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. We're going to go into this next chain 2 space and do a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. We're going to go into this next chain 2 space and do a single crochet. We're going to chain 4, and now we are over here at our double crochet section. We're going to do a double crochet, chain 1 into the top of each and every one of these double crochets from the previous row. Here's our first double crochet. We're going to chain 1. We're going to go into the next one, do a double crochet, chain 1. We're going into the next stitch, doing a double crochet, chain 1. Next stitch, do a double crochet, chain 1. Into the next stitch, a double crochet, chain 1. Into the next stitch, do a double crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are back over here at the beginning of our repeat. So we got a chain 4. Now we're going to work into these chain 2 spaces. There's the first one. We're doing a single crochet, chain 2, go into the next one, do a single crochet, chain 2, go into the next stitch, do a single crochet, chain 2, go, oh, I'm sorry, we only have to do that twice. So we've got 2 of our chain 2 spaces. Now we're going to chain 4 instead of 2. We're chaining 4, so I've got 3 and 4. And now we're back here at the beginning of our double crochet section. So we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a chain 1. I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. So chain 1 in between, we're in that section where we're chaining 1 in between our double crochet stitches. So we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and we've done our last one. Now we're at the beginning of our repeat. We're going to chain 4, 3 and 4, and we're going to come over here and do a single crochet into the first chain 2 space, chain 2, go in here and do a single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, do a single crochet in the next chain 2 space, and then we're back at our repeat. We're going to do chain 4. If you are doing one of the larger sizes, you're going to go ahead and pause me here so that you can come back when you just have these 4 double crochets to work in at the end. So go ahead and pause the video and come back when you are ready for the very end of your row. If you're working along with me, we're going to continue. We've got our chain 4, and we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet. We are going to chain 1, go into the very next stitch and do a double crochet. We're going to chain 1. We're going to go into the very next stitch and do a double crochet. And then we are going to just simply do a double crochet in the top of this chain 3 from the previous row. And that is how you end that row. Now we are going to have to chain up 4 in order to do our next row. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Turn your work, and you are going to do a double crochet in